Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government. I'm your host, Josh Johnson, and alongside me, as always, the man in charge, Mr. Devin Smith.
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. I hope you are.
I'm doing fine. Well, joining us today is Chief Scott's successor, Brian James, who will be entering the position of Chief of Police for the City of Greensboro February 1st. So why everyone's listening to this who will actually be the police chief.
Thanks for coming by, Chief.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So we've got a couple of questions for you, especially coming into this important role, but we'll kind of start everything off light and ask you about your high school football state championship.
Okay.
We heard about that through the grapevine.
Okay.
So what was it kind of like being homegrown? You even won a championship for your high school. You're a gamer, so kind of just tell us about yourself.
Well, growing up here in Greensboro, great upbringing, great experience. I've told people I grew up in the Phillips Avenue area, great community. Everybody looked out for everybody. Had an opportunity to play football at Page High School. Of course, I was a student first, but had a chance to play on some of those great football teams. I was actually on the 1985 state championship team under Coach Marion Kirby.
Okay.
And it was just a wonderful experience. You talked about, I think you mentioned gaming or something.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that in a second.
I heard Madden was your favorite game.
Yeah, I haven't had as much time to play this year, so my player rating's gone down some. But yeah, just it's just a hobby I have, and over the years, as they come out with the subsequent versions, I've just gotten really good at it.
Yeah.
So just something to relax and have some fun.
As far as sports gaming, I'm on the other side. I play a lot of NBA 2K.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right.
I spend a lot of my free time doing that out of school and work and stuff like that.
Right,
so it's pretty cool. Well, in America currently, it's just not a really easy time to work in law enforcement. So this is especially true in the African American community, so our community. So what made you want to apply for the chief of police job?
Well, I've had a lot of great experiences in the police department. Had a chance to work throughout really every division, and had a great understanding of what we do and how we do it. As an African American, being a police officer in this city, having grown up here and knowing the people and having built the relationships, I understand the tension that exists, even from a historical standpoint. But I also understand why police do what they do. And I think that in a lot of ways, I can bridge that gap. And the main tool that I look at is communication, talking to communities about why we do things, the way we do them, and help them understand that what we're trying to do is keep their community safe, and we're trying to do it the right way. And I think that what happens oftentimes is that there is a lack of communication, and we have to make sure that people understand that we are trying to keep them safe, and we are trying to do it the right way.
Yeah. Okay. So as you said earlier, you're from Greensboro, and this has been your home. So give us an idea of what it's like to grow up here and then becoming a police officer here, and now becoming chief of police here. Well,
I'll say the proudest thing for me is that I tell people, anybody that's had any level of success in whatever they do, they didn't do it by themselves. Right. And so as I got the notice that I was selected as police chief, I was very proud, not necessarily for what I've done, but a lot of people in this community have given me opportunities over the years and poured into me and given me a chance to be successful. And I look back at it, and those opportunities have paid off. And I'm just really proud of that, because it's not like just me becoming the police chief, but a lot of people are becoming the police chief.
Yeah, everybody that made that investment and gave you that time. That's great.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Chief of Police Brian James is in the Talk City studio, and we're getting to know him just a little bit. However, it's time to get a little bit deeper and ask what a lot of people would like to know. How are we going to reduce crime, and violent crime specifically in Greensboro? What's your plan of action?
We have a lot of resources that are already in place, but I think we have to look at how those resources are organized and what we're focused on. One thing I'd say is that a lot of our law enforcement partners are experiencing violent crime as well in the overall community.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to look at is talking to them about any partnerships that we can form to actually merge our resources, because oftentimes the people that are committing crimes, they don't have any respect for boundaries. So they'll go between here, between Greensboro and other communities and do these things. The other part is that we have to make sure that we cultivate the relationships with the community so that when things are happening in the community, they feel comfortable contacting us and letting us know, and then also letting us know things that can potentially happen. So maybe we can get out in front of it. So, so from a, if you will, a police tactical standpoint, we have to look at how that looks, but then we also have to make sure that the communities that we're serving, that they understand and support what we're doing, so that they understand that we're trying to keep them safe,
right,
and trying to get the people off the streets that wish to do us harm.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I know City Manager David Parrish was here last week,
right,
and that was one of his big points, that it was, between City Council, police, that's a goal for everyone in this community, and we hear it a lot of times that reducing crime is important to everyone here in the city
Absolutely.
Organization.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about GPD's culture. What is going on? What's going to be the culture that you create under your leadership, and how is that going to translate to increasing community trust and overall a better relationship?
One thing that I've talked about several times is talking about connecting people to resources. So oftentimes we encounter people that are in their, maybe the worst day of their life or in a critical state, and talking about, what caused us to be there in the first place, and trying to connect people to the resources that they need. So that's kind of out of the box thinking for police in general, because oftentimes we go somewhere, there may be a chaotic situation, we try to diffuse it as best we can, and then we go to the next call. And then perhaps there's another call at that same location the next week. So I want to create a culture of trying to connect people to resources, trying to actually solve problems in a bigger way, right, so that we aren't coming back to the same locations, people aren't suffering the same incidents week after week. And also just a culture of really to build on what we've already done as far as the community connections. I know that we've made a lot of great inroads to a lot of communities and built some relationships, but there's still some communities that we don't have great relationships with, and I want to reach out to those communities and those individuals and try to cultivate those relationships as well, and I want all my officers to do that as well.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. We definitely thank you for coming by and giving us all of that information and letting us peek a little bit inside to our new police chief. It was important for me to get you down here, seeing that this will kind of start a series of influential African Americans in the community for Black History Month. So I definitely thank you for coming down here. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget, you can download Talk City from Soundcloud.
That's all for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Talk City. Be sure to watch GTN, your official source for the latest news and information from the city of Greensboro. GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13,
AT&T U-verse Channel 99,
North State Channel 31.
GTN also streams live on the city's website at greensboro-nc.gov. And now on Roku. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a good one.